This is Money, Motivation, and Mike, and I am your host, Michael Wainwright. In charge of the mothership is Jason Wright. And hello to you, world. This is the show that will change your life. You can contact us at info@mx3.vip and find all of our content at mx3.vip or on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@mx3podcast. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get notified of all of our new content that comes out every Monday morning around 9 o'clock. And as a matter of fact, this Monday morning will be Memorial Day 2024. And I know I have said that I wanted to have a recap after we just did our 100th episode, but being our next episode will come out on Memorial Day, we've got to talk about Memorial Day. So before we get into that and moving on to just a few things here that I think of as importance, subscribers on YouTube, Jason, are now at 33,789. And just in the last 26 days, we've had 56,200 views go to our YouTube channel. Continuing to be great stuff. As we also move into this election time of the year, as we come to the latter half, and I know summer's about to start, but the presidential election, etc., is fixing to get ramped up in a big time way. So we also have a lot of debate going on right now about illegal folks, better known as aliens in the code, the U.S. code, coming into this country. So just wanted to give you a little tidbit here of information that actually Jason went and dug up, and it is very, very good stuff to make sure you are a registered voter. But 18 U.S. Code 611 pertains to voting by aliens. The first line A, it shall be unlawful for any alien to vote in any election held solely or in part for the purpose of electing a candidate for the President of the United States, Vice President, Presidential Elector, Member of Senate, Member of House of Representatives, Delegate from the District of Columbia, or a resident of a commissioner. Unless, and then there are a few other things that go along, and then it talks about any person who violates anything in this section shall be fined under this title, imprisoned not more than 1 year, or both, fined and imprisoned. And then you get down to C, subsection. Subsection C, subsection A, does not apply to an alien if, number 3, the alien reasonably believed at the time of voting, in violation of such subsection, that he or she was a citizen of the United States of America. So if you believe you're a citizen of the United States of America, even though you have not went through the process to become a legal citizen of the United States of America, or maybe you're going through the process, according to 18 U.S. Code 611, C subsection A, number 3, the alien reasonably believed at the time of voting, in violation of such subsection, that he or she was a citizen of the United States. So they violated it, but they thought they were a U.S. citizen of the United States, so they're okay, according to that right there. Maybe we ought to put that up, Jason, on the website, just so people can see, and then they can go and look at it for themselves. But if you believed you were a citizen at the time of your voting violation, you're okay. Oh boy, more and more good stuff coming down the pipe. November is almost here. All right. As I've talked about before on this show, I'm not the biggest Dave Ramsey fan. And we've talked about the fact that, in my opinion, he has a cookie cutter solution to everything. And the person making $20,000 and the person making $2 million, that's totally two different sets of circumstances. But he does have a good point here, and I want to point this out and give him the credit for doing this. And he states, if you graduate from high school, marry before having a child and have that child after age 20. Only 8% of the people who do so will fall below the poverty level. That means if you marry after high school, not during high school, you do not have a child till after age 20, you have a 92% chance of staying above the poverty line. Seems to me more and more young people are getting married and having children at a younger age. Now, with that being said, in the olden days, 75, 100 years ago, it was get married as early as you could and have as many children as you could. And I don't know, maybe poverty was a whole lot worse back in those days, but those people seem to have survived and survived in a big time way. But as of today, 2024, marrying after college and having a child after 20 gives you a 92% chance of staying out of poverty. I guess that's our public service announcement for the day, Jason. Now, Memorial Day. When you go back and you look at Memorial Day and you study some of this, what is the true meaning of Memorial Day and that long weekend? So we've went to the Farmer's Almanac and gotten some of our information today. Memorial Day. Let's just take a look here. It is important to recognize the difference between this federal holiday and Veterans Day, especially the veterans. I want you to make note of this. Now, by the way, Memorial Day was originally called Decoration Day. Why the red poppy is a symbol and when to fly the flag. We're going to talk about these things right now. When is Memorial Day? The U.S. federal holiday is observed on the last Monday of May to honor the men and women who have died while serving in the military, also formerly known as Declaration Day. 2024 Memorial Day will be observed on Monday, May 27th, which is the exact day of the recording that you're listening to right now. Now, what is the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day? On both Memorial Day and Veterans Day, it's customary to spend time remembering and honoring the countless veterans who have served the United States throughout the country's history. However, there is a distinction between the two holidays. Memorial Day commemorates the men and women who died while serving in the United States Armed Forces, particularly those who died in battle or as a result of wounds sustained in battle. In other words, the purpose of Memorial Day is to honor the veterans who made ultimate sacrifice for the country by giving up their life. Veterans, now you think about this, veterans don't necessarily, according to this article, veterans don't necessarily care to be thanked on Memorial Day because they haven't died. And any veteran you run into, and a lot of them wear their hats that show the level of armed forces that they were in. They don't necessarily want to be thanked on Memorial Day because it is a day for their brothers and sisters that have passed in the combat of battle. So we move to Veterans Day. Veterans Day is the day set aside to thank and honor all who served in the United States Armed Forces in wartime or peacetime, regardless of whether they died or survived. Veterans Day is always observed officially on November the 11th, regardless of the day of which it falls on. Of course, Memorial Day, we reserve that for the last Monday of May, and on and on and on. And what do we do here with the flag? And I bet a lot of you listeners and viewers don't know this. Flag etiquette on Memorial Day is unique. At sunrise, the flag is to be raised to full staff bristling, then lowered to half staff position where it will remain until noon. Traditionally on Memorial Day, volunteers often place small American flags on each grave site at national cemeteries. A national moment of remembrance takes place at 3 p.m. local time. Most of the time where you can find where such an activity is going to happen, you can contact your local American Legion post. Now, just like we were talking about here, Memorial Day, the American flag, flags being placed on grave sites at cemeteries, definitely the Arlington Memorial Cemetery and national cemeteries. So obviously, if you're still alive, that's why some veterans take offense to the fact that Memorial Day is for the dead, not for the continuing living. Here are some Memorial Day facts and history. The custom of honoring ancestors by cleaning cemeteries and decorating their graves, once again proving that Memorial Day is about honoring the fallen. Memorial Day was originally known as Declaration Day, starting with the American Civil War. It's believed that the tradition of honoring the dead was inspired by the way the southern states decorated the graves, both Confederate and Union soldiers, with flowers, wreaths, and flags. Now, several cities, towns, etc. across the country lay claim as the first to observe Declaration Day, which actually was officially May 5th, 1866 in Waterloo, New York. It hosted its own event. Many people showed up as they advertised. And in 1966, 100 years later, led by President Lyndon Johnson, declaring the town as the birthplace of Declaration Day. Meanwhile, on May 5th, 1868, 2 years later, inspired by the suggestion of veteran Major General John A. Logan, Commander-in-Chief of the Grand Army of the Republic, issued General Order Number 11, designating the 30th day of May as the annual day of remembrance, and the ideal caught on. So think about that, Jason. There wasn't a 3-day weekend for over 100 years. Whenever it landed, just like a July 4th. After World War I, Declaration Day included all fallen soldiers, not just those of the Civil War, and the term Memorial Day started being used. By World War II, Memorial Day became the term in more common usage across different states. The states adopted the resolution and making it an official holiday. Finally, in 1971, Memorial Day became a national holiday by an act of Congress. When the 1968 Uniform Monday Holiday Act effect took place in 1971, a few federal holidays were moved to Monday to create 3-day weekends: Memorial Day, Labor Day. Memorial Day was set aside and occur on the last Monday of May, and no longer was it designated as the 30th of May. And just think about that. That's just been 53 years ago. And before that, it was always on the 30th. It wasn't on that Monday, the first Monday of the last Monday of May. Before that, there wasn't a 3-day weekend that we all know and love to this day right now. Now, how about the Poppy Lady? We're talking about the red. In November of 1918, days before the official end of the war, an American professor named Moena Michael wrote her own poem. "We Shall Keep the Faith" was the name of the poem. It was inspired by "In Flanders Fields." In her poem, she mentioned wearing the poppy red to honor the dead, and with that, the tradition of adorning one's clothing with a single red poppy in remembrance of those killed in the Great War was born. Moena herself can be known and honored as the Poppy Lady. Now, today, poppies are not only a symbol of the loss of life, but also the recovery of new life, especially in support of the servicemen who survived the war, but suffered from physical and psychological injuries long after it ended. Now, this has also been transferred over to Mother's Day, where a red or white corsage is worn by the lady based on whether or not her mother is still alive or not. Now, Memorial Day weekend in most people's eyes is the unofficial start to the summer. Memorial Day tends to mark when summer starts, even though most seasons really begin summer solstice, something like that. Solstice in mid-June. That's actually the official day.
Yes.
Now, another big deal is eating on Memorial Day. Now, here is America's top items. Most of the time you enjoy extra time spent with family and friends and obviously sharing a meal. So here's some of your favorite food items. Picnic scalloped potatoes. Super summer sliders. I'm assuming we're talking about hamburgers. Strawberry spinach salad.
No, thank you.
Lemon oatmeal sugar cookies. Those are your top 4. Now, you can go to the Farmer's Almanac and you can look for picnic food recipes, and you can go and see many, many things, such as how to prepare these 4 items that are at the top of the list. So you've got your dish, you've got your main dish, you've got your side appetizer, and then you've got your sugar cookie for the dessert. There's your 4. Now, Jason, would you think if you attended a Memorial Day picnic today, you think all 4 of those would be at your picnic?
No.
I don't think any of those would be. Scalloped potatoes could. Now, oatmeal sugar cookies could, but not with the lemon. I don't know that I've ever had one of those. I guess it could be hamburgers. Say summer slaughter hamburgers. There's a lot of hamburgers and hot dogs. This strawberry spinach salad, I don't think is going to do too well for me. Okay. Once again, in both Memorial Day and Veterans Day, and we're focusing on Memorial Day, it's customary to spend time remembering and honoring the countless veterans who have served the United States of America throughout the country's history. Whoever would have thought that there is a distinction between the two, and how many of us don't really know that what the difference in the distinction is. So we'll talk more about Veterans Day coming up in November. But remember, when it comes to Memorial Day commemorates the men and women who died while serving in the United States Armed Forces. And I really think that a lot of people struggle with that. I really, really do. But regardless, obviously all veterans are important to us as United States citizens. And once again, Memorial Day, the recording of our show will come out on here on Memorial Day. And as always, we enjoy talking about these type of things. Obviously, you like to hear them as our numbers continue to be off the charts, frankly, as Monday Motivation and Mike continues to bring things. Now, I promise next week, which will be, is it episode 102, Jason? Would that be right?
Yes.
Okay. 2 weeks late, we're going to do a 100 episode review. Can't say year in review because we're almost 2 years done. So next week, I'm going to do a 100 episode year in review because 104 would be the 2 years. So I'm going to do it 103. It may be a 2-part series. I don't know. We'll get into it. You know, I kind of get talking and you know what happens. But regardless, contact us. info@mx3.vip. And you can find all of our content at mx3.vip or on YouTube channel, youtube.com/@mx3podcast. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the icon bell to get notified of all of our new content, which comes out every Monday morning at 9 o'clock. So once again, for everyone who's been a part of this episode of Monday Motivation and Mike, continue to live your life the right way.